It was around 12:40 in the morning when I left my friend's apartment in northern Ohio. The rain had just started coming down, hard enough to blur the highway lights, and honestly, I was exhausted. I had been driving for almost 5 hours already, trying to make it home before sunrise. My GPS kept rerouting because of road construction, so eventually I ended up on this long, empty highway, surrounded by nothing except trees and darkness. No gas stations, no houses, no other cars, just rain hitting the windshield and the sound of my wipers scraping back and forth. At first, it actually felt peaceful, until I saw him. There was a man standing alone on the side of the road. No umbrella, no flashlight, just standing there completely still under the rain. As my headlights got closer, I noticed something strange. He was smiling, not waving, not asking for help, just smiling directly at my car. I remember slowing down for a second because I genuinely thought something was wrong with him. Then suddenly, he lifted his thumb up like he wanted a ride. Every instinct in my body told me to keep driving, and honestly, I should have listened. But the weather was getting worse, and the guy looked completely soaked. So against my better judgment, I pulled over. The second he opened the passenger door, this horrible cold smell filled the entire car, like wet clothes mixed with something rotten. He climbed in slowly without saying a word. I asked him where he was headed. Nothing. He just kept staring forward with this weird smile still on his face. That's when I noticed his clothes. They weren't just wet. They looked old, like really old, almost like something from the 1970s. I tried making conversation again. Still nothing. Then, after about 30 seconds, he quietly said, "People shouldn't drive this road at night." I laughed nervously and asked why, but he ignored the question completely. A few minutes later, my GPS suddenly lost signal. The map disappeared. No roads, no directions, nothing. And weirdly enough, my phone stopped working too. No service. That's when the hitchhiker slowly turned his head toward me, and for the first time, his smile disappeared. He looked serious now, almost scared. Then he said something that made my stomach drop. "You should lock your doors." I instantly checked the mirrors, expecting another car behind us. Nothing. The highway was completely empty. I asked him what he meant, but he didn't answer. Instead, he kept staring out the back window. That's when I noticed another pair of headlights appear behind us. Far back at first, but they were moving fast. Way too fast. Within seconds, the car was directly behind me. Its headlights were so bright, I could barely see the road. Then the driver started flashing the lights aggressively, over and over. I thought maybe they wanted to pass me, so I switched lanes slightly, but they stayed directly behind us. The hitchhiker suddenly whispered, "Don't stop." At this point, my hands were shaking on the steering wheel. The car behind us got even closer, so close, I couldn't even see its license plate anymore. Then, suddenly, it swerved beside us. I turned for half a second and saw the driver. And I swear to God, there was nobody inside the car. No driver, no passenger, nothing. Just an empty vehicle pacing us perfectly in the rain. I slammed on the brakes from pure panic. The empty car shot forward and disappeared into the darkness ahead. I was breathing so hard, I thought I was going to pass out. Then I looked toward the hitchhiker, and he was smiling again. But this time, it felt different, almost relieved. He quietly said, "It found us." I immediately asked him what the hell he was talking about. But before he could answer, the headlights appeared again behind us, closer than before. Except this time, they weren't attached to a car. It was just two floating lights moving through the darkness behind us, keeping pace with the road, keeping pace with my car. I remember screaming and pressing harder on the gas pedal. The hitchhiker grabbed my arm suddenly and yelled, "Do not let it get next to us." That was the first time he sounded genuinely terrified. The floating lights started getting closer, closer, closer. Then my radio suddenly turned on by itself. Pure static filled the car, and through the static, I heard a voice whisper, "Pull over." Over and over again. Pull over. Pull over. The hitchhiker started shouting at me not to listen. He looked completely panicked now. Gone was the creepy smile. Gone was the calm behavior. Now he looked like someone trying to survive. Then, suddenly, the floating lights rushed forward beside my window, and for one split second, I saw a face. Not human. Its skin looked stretched tight over its skull. Its mouth was unnaturally wide, and its eyes completely black. I nearly crashed trying to look away. The hitchhiker screamed, "Keep driving!" The rain became so heavy I could barely see the road anymore. I honestly thought we were going to die. Then ahead in the distance, I saw lights. A gas station. I pressed the accelerator as hard as I could. The floating lights behind us started flickering violently, almost angry. As soon as I pulled into the gas station parking lot, they vanished instantly. Just gone. No sound. No headlights. Nothing. I jumped out of the car shaking and ran inside. The old cashier behind the counter looked at me like he'd seen this before. I tried explaining everything. The lights. The road. The thing chasing us. But when I turned around to point at the hitchhiker, the passenger seat was empty. The door was still locked from the inside. There was nobody there. I searched the entire gas station parking lot. Nothing. The cashier slowly walked over to me and asked, "Did he smile at you?" The second he said that, I felt my stomach twist. I asked him how he knew, and the cashier pointed toward a faded newspaper clipping hanging near the register. There was a black and white photo of a man, wet hair, old clothes, and the exact same smile. The article said he died on that highway in 1978 after warning drivers about something people called the empty lights. I couldn't even speak. Then the cashier said something I still think about constantly. He only appears to people who were never supposed to survive that road. I left the gas station before sunrise and drove straight home. I never took that highway again. But sometimes, late at night, when I'm driving alone, I still see headlights appear behind me for just a few seconds. And every single time, my radio starts whispering the same thing. Pull over.